The airport was packed with travelers rushing in every direction, families laughing, suitcases rolling, announcements echoing overhead. Everything felt normal. Until K9 officer Jenna's German Shepherd suddenly froze mid-patrol. He lunged toward a blue suitcase sitting quietly beside gate C14. "Rex?" "Easy, what is it, boy?" Jenna called, but Rex wouldn't budge. Security rushed over. People backed away. Cameras came out. The terminal filled with whispers. Bomb threat? Drugs? Something dangerous? But when the suitcase was finally unzipped and opened, the entire airport gasped. Even hardened officers stumbled backward in shock. Inside wasn't a weapon, not contraband, not what anyone expected. What they found in that suitcase changed the entire investigation and exposed a heartbreaking truth no one was prepared to face. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The morning rush had just begun at Hartfield International Airport. Officer Jenna walked beside her K9 partner, Rex, weaving through the crowds with practiced calm. Rex's ears flicked at every sound, nose twitching as he scanned the air for the faintest trace of danger. He was one of the airport's top detection dogs, sharp, disciplined, and impossibly loyal. And today, he behaved just as he always did. Until suddenly, he didn't. Rex halted, completely. Jenna took 2 steps forward before realizing he was no longer at her side. "Rex?" she called, glancing back. His stance had shifted, ears stiff, tail low, muscles coiled with intense focus. "What is it, boy?" Rex inhaled sharply, nostrils flaring, then began moving with purpose through the crowd. He dodged between passengers, ignoring the startled looks and tightening his pace. Jenna followed, apologizing to people he brushed past. Rex wasn't wandering. He was tracking something. They reached gate C14, where travelers waited to board a domestic flight. Rex slowed, scanning the floor, sniffing the edges of seats, luggage wheels, fabric, metal. Jenna watched him closely. This wasn't his explosive detection posture. It wasn't his narcotics alert either. Something was different. Then, in a single swift motion, Rex pivoted and locked onto a blue suitcase resting beside a row of seats. No one claimed it. No one stood near it. It sat completely still, zipped tight, and silent. Rex growled low, warning, primal before planting his body firmly in front of the suitcase. His bark exploded through the terminal, sharp and commanding. People turned. Conversation stopped. Jenna's pulse spiked. Rex had found something, and whatever it was, it wasn't good. The crowd's chatter dissolved into uneasy murmurs as Rex continued barking, louder and more urgent with each second. Passengers instinctively backed away, forming a widening circle around the blue suitcase. A few people pulled out their phones, recording the scene, while parents clutched their children close and ushered them behind seats or pillars. Officer Jenna stepped in front of Rex, raising her hand to keep people at a safe distance. "Everyone, please remain calm and step back," she instructed, her voice steady despite the adrenaline tightening her chest. She had seen Rex alert many times, but never quite like this. His body trembled with intensity, eyes locked on the suitcase as though something alive and dangerous waited inside. Nearby airline employee approached nervously. "Officer, is it a bomb?" Jenna didn't answer. She couldn't not without more information. "Who does this suitcase belong to?" She called out. "Did anyone see who left it here?" Jenna's jaw tightened. Unattended luggage was always suspicious, but Rex's extreme reaction raised the stakes. 2 additional officers rushed over, hands already on their radios. "We've got bomb squad en route," one said. Rex's barking suddenly shifted, no longer aggressive. It became frantic, high-pitched, desperate, the kind of bark he used during Lev rescue training. When a human life was at risk, Jenna froze. Rex wasn't signaling danger. She kneeled beside him, voice soft. "Rex, what is it? What's inside?" Rex pressed his nose against the zipper, whining sharply. Ears pinned back. It needed help. Within seconds, the airport's routine hum turned into controlled chaos. A voice crackled through radios as officers moved swiftly into formation. "Lock down gate C-14. Clear the immediate area. No one in or out." Passengers were ushered back behind the security cordon. Some resisted, others trembled, but all were forced away as officers widened the perimeter. The gate that moments ago buzzed with boarding announcements now echoed with tension. Rex never moved from the suitcase. His paws planted firmly against the floor, his gaze locked, his breathing rapid, not with aggression, but with urgency. He let out a deep, distressed whine that made Jenna's stomach twist. 3 TSA agents rolled out a portable blast shield while the bomb squad hurried down the corridor, equipment rattling. But even before they arrived, the lead technician frowned. He had seen K9 alerts hundreds of times, but Rex's behavior didn't match the pattern. "Are you sure he's signaling explosives?" the technician asked carefully. Jenna shook her head. "No, this is different. I've never seen him react like this." Rex barked again, sharp, repeatedly stepping closer to the suitcase, pressing his face against the fabric as if begging someone inside to respond. "Sir." "The dog is signaling for life detection," Jenna said urgently. "We need to consider that before treating this like a bomb." The technician hesitated, glancing from Rex to the trembling suitcase. "If there's a person inside, opening it wrong could still trigger danger." Jenna's pulse hammered. "Then we open it right." Officers exchanged tense looks. The decision had to be made fast. Rex suddenly stopped barking. He stared at the suitcase with wide, fearful eyes, as if whatever was inside was running out of time. The tension in gate C-14 grew thick enough to silence even the whispers. Officers stood in a half circle, unsure whether to treat the suitcase as a bomb or as something far more delicate. Every pair of eyes shifted between Rex's trembling body and the unmoving suitcase he refused to leave. The bomb squad leader, Agent Harlan, adjusted his helmet and crouched beside Jenna. "Your dog's signals are mixed. He's showing distress, but not explosive alert patterns. Are you certain this isn't a false reaction?" Jenna shook her head firmly. "Rex doesn't make mistakes. If he's reacting like this, something is inside that suitcase, and it's alive." Harlan frowned. "We can't open it blindly. If there is an explosive, it could detonate when unzipped. But if there's someone inside—" He nodded toward Rex. "We could be losing a life every second we wait." Rex whined again, pushing his head under the suitcase flap as though trying to reach whoever or whatever was inside. His desperation unsettled even the most seasoned officers. A young TSA agent stepped forward hesitantly. "What if it's a trafficking case? Smugglers have used luggage before. They sedate victims to avoid detection." Harlan exhaled sharply, frustration flickering across his face. "We're stuck between protocol and humanity." Jenna placed her hand on the suitcase, feeling for vibrations. "Rex has never reacted like this, not once. He's scared. Not of the suitcase, but for what's in it." For a long, heavy moment, no one spoke. Then Harlan straightened. "All right. We take a calculated risk. We open it manually, slowly, and pray we're saving a life, not ending a dozen." The next move would change everything. All eyes locked onto the blue suitcase as Agent Harlan slowly knelt beside it. The airport was so silent that even the distant hum of vending machines seemed deafening. Officers formed a protective barrier, shielding passengers while Jenna stayed close beside Rex, her other hand hovering near her holster. Every nerve wired with tension. Rex pressed himself against Jenna's leg, whining softly. His tail curled inward, his posture shrinking, not a threat stance, but a plea. He pawed the suitcase gently, then backed away, ears pinned flat. Whatever was inside terrified him. And yet he refused to leave. Harlan's gloved hands hovered over the zipper. "Everyone stay still," he warned. No sudden movement. He tugged the first zipper tooth. It clicked loud in the silence. He exhaled slowly and continued, inch by cautious inch. The zipper traveled halfway around the suitcase when something inside shifted. Every officer froze. Rex lunged forward with a panicked bark. Harlan swallowed hard and lifted the lid just a few centimeters, enough to shine a flashlight inside. His eyes widened and his breath caught. "Oh my. Jenna, look at this." Jenna leaned in cautiously. At first, she saw only fabric, a soft blanket, wrinkled and bunched. But then she saw a tiny hand, small, motionless, pale. Her heart dropped. "Is that?" The suitcase was opened fully now, revealing a curled-up toddler, no older than 2. The child was limp, chest rising with the faintest breaths, face flushed with unnatural heat. Passengers gasped. Officers stumbled back. Jenna's hand flew to her mouth. Rex pushed past her and whimpered beside the child, nudging the blanket aside with heartbreaking gentleness. The terminal erupted into stunned whispers as officers crowded around the suitcase. The toddler lay curled beneath the blanket, cheeks flushed, lips slightly parted. She looked like she had been sleeping peacefully, even if not for the unnatural stillness in her tiny hands and the pale tremor in her breathing. Jenna leaned closer, her voice trembling. "She's alive." "Barely." Rex whimpered and pressed his nose gently against the child's tiny shoulder. She didn't respond. But Rex's tail lowered, his ears folding back, his instinct telling him the truth. This little girl was in trouble. Harlan waved over the medics. "We need EMS at gate C14 now." 2 paramedics sprinted across the terminal, equipment rattling. They knelt beside the suitcase, carefully lifting the child out. The girl's head rolled limply against one medic's arm. "Pulse is weak," the first medic said urgently. "She's sedated, deeply. Temperature dropping," the second added. "How long has she been in here?" No one had an answer. Jenna swallowed the rising anger in her throat. Who would do this to a child? Rex barked sharply, startling everyone. It wasn't his alert bark, it was protective, furious, as if warning anyone nearby not to come closer to the child without permission. One of the paramedics looked up. "Ma'am, your dog seems very attached to her." Jenna nodded. "He found her. He knew she was here before anyone else." Rex nudged the toddler's small foot gently, whining. For a moment, her eyelids fluttered, barely opening before drooping again. She responded. Jenna gasped. The medic nodded. "We need to get her stabilized. She's fading fast." As they prepared to rush her to the medical bay, Rex followed at Jenna's heel, refusing to look away from the child he had just saved. Mystery had deepened, and the real danger was only beginning. The terminal doors slid open with a heavy thud as paramedics rushed the toddler toward the airport's medical bay. Jenna stayed close beside them, Rex glued to her leg, his steps quick and anxious. Every few seconds he nudged her hand, as if urging her to move faster. His instincts were on overdrive. He knew the child's condition was worse than anyone realized. Inside the medical bay, bright lights illuminated the small exam table where the girl was gently laid down. Electrodes were attached to her chest, a pulse oximeter clipped to her tiny finger. Machines flickered to life, displaying numbers that made the lead medic's expression tighten. "Heart rate dangerously low," he muttered. "She's sedated and dehydrated." Another medic checked her pupils. Barely reactive. Whatever she was given, it wasn't meant for children. Jenna felt anger burn inside her chest. Somebody drugged her deliberately and put her in that suitcase. Why? Before anyone could answer, Rex climbed onto the edge of the table, whining. He pressed his nose to the girl's hand, nudging it gently as though trying to wake her. The medics allowed it. His presence seemed to calm her. The monitors steadied slightly every time Rex touched her. One medic raised an eyebrow. "I've never seen anything like that. Her vitals respond to him." Jenna placed a hand on Rex's back. "She needs him." He sensed her before any of us did. Suddenly, the girl twitched a small spasm, but strong enough to make everyone freeze. Her lips parted. A tiny, weak sound escaped. "She's trying to wake up." The medic whispered. Rex barked softly, one gentle, encouraging sound. Her eyelids quivered, fluttering open for just a second. Brown eyes clouded, scared, searching met Rex's. Then she faded again. But in that brief moment, one thing was painfully clear. This child was fighting to survive. And Rex was the one pulling her back. Outside the medical bay, security officers worked at lightning speed. The blue suitcase had already been taken to forensics, and airport surveillance teams were combing through hours of camera footage. What they needed was simple. The person who left that suitcase at gate C14. Jenna stood behind the security desk, Rex sitting at her heel, still restless and alert. Every time the child's faint cry echoed from the medical bay, Rex's ears flicked and he turned toward the door. He wanted to be back beside her, watching over her. Jenna gently stroked his head, calming him. The head of airport security, Captain Morales, stepped beside her. "We found something," he said grimly. He played a clip on the monitor. The footage showed a man who'd pulled low, sunglasses on, dragging the blue suitcase through the terminal. His movements were hurried, paranoid. He paused near gate C14, scanned the area, and then he walked away, leaving the suitcase behind as if it were nothing. Jenna's jaw clenched. "Can we see his face?" Morales shook his head. "He never looks up. Appears to know exactly where the cameras are." Another officer approached. "Sir, footage from the parking lot just came in." On the next screen, the same man was seen getting out of a dark sedan, adjusting the suitcase handle, and pulling out a second bag, one noticeably smaller, before disappearing into the crowd. Jenna frowned. A second bag? Could he still be inside the airport? Morales nodded. If he hasn't boarded a flight. Yes. And that means he might still be watching. Rex growled suddenly, a deep rumble vibrating through his chest. Jenna tightened her grip on his harness. Whoever abandoned that child wasn't gone. And Rex could already sense the danger closing. In the steady beep of the monitor filled the small medical bay as the toddler lay motionless beneath a warm blanket. Paramedics had stabilized her temperature, but she hadn't regained consciousness, not fully. Jenna stood beside the bed, Rex at her feet, both watching her with an intensity that made the room feel sacred. Quiet, heavy with hope. Then, without warning, the child's fingers twitched. Rex's ears shot up. He lifted his head, letting out a soft, questioning whine. Jenna leaned closer. "Hey, sweetheart. Can you hear me?" The girl's eyelids fluttered once, twice before slowly lifting. Her eyes, wide and unfocused, drifted around the room. Panic flickered across her face, her tiny breaths turning sharp and scared. "It's okay," Jenna whispered, gently brushing hair from the girl's forehead. "You're safe now." But the girl didn't look at Jenna. She looked straight at Rex. The German shepherd stepped forward, tail low, head tilted. He pressed his nose against her little hand. A tiny gasp escaped her lips, and then the faintest smile formed, trembling and fragile. "Doggy," she whispered, voice barely audible. Jenna's heart clenched. "Do you know him?" The girl blinked slowly and nodded, weak but certain. Her small hand curled around Rex's fur, gripping it like an anchor. Rex leaned closer, whining softly as her breathing steadied. One of the medics stepped forward. "Her vitals are improving. This dog, he's calming her system." The girl's lips moved again, whispering something faint. Jenna leaned in to hear. He found me, the child murmured. I knew he would. Jenna froze. You knew? How? But the toddler's eyes filled with tears, fearful, desperate tears, and her tiny voice broke on the next words. Because he was supposed to save me. The room fell silent, and Rex pressed himself closer. As if promising he wouldn't leave her again, the little girl clung to Rex's fur as though it was the only safe thing in the world. Her breaths came in shaky bursts, her eyes darting around the room before settling back on the dog, always on the dog. Jenna knelt beside her, careful not to overwhelm her. Sweetheart, Jenna whispered gently, can you tell us your name? The girl hesitated, her bottom lip trembling. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out, only a soft squeak, like fear choking her words. Then she pressed her cheek against Rex's neck, hiding in his fur. It's okay, Jenna reassured. You're not in trouble. You're safe here. Slowly, she lifted her head again, eyes glossy with tears. Mila, she whispered. Jenna smiled softly. Hi, Mila, you're very brave. But Mila wasn't listening. Her fingers tightened around Rex's collar as another tear slid down her cheek. He found me, she repeated weakly. I told him to. Jenna's heart skipped. Told him? Mila, when? Mila swallowed hard. When? When the bad man put me in the bag. Her voice cracked. I called the doggy in my heart. I knew he would hear me. Jenna froze. She exchanged a shocked glance with the medic. Mila was too young to understand tracking, too young to know how K9 South worked, yet she believed Rex had somehow heard her silent plea. Rex nudged her again, pressing his forehead gently against her arm. Mila exhaled a tiny breath of relief like she'd been holding it for days. The man. He said nobody would find me, she whispered, voice shaking. But I knew Rex would. Jenna leaned closer. Mila, how do you know Rex? Mila blinked slowly, fear returning. Because. She whispered, eyes filling again. He saved me once before. Jenna felt the world tilt. This wasn't random. This was personal. While Mila rested against Rex, clutching his fur like her lifeline, officers in the forensics room gathered around the open suitcase. What they discovered inside turned the investigation from disturbing to terrifying. Detective Alvarez pulled on fresh gloves and lifted the blanket Mila had been wrapped in. At first glance, it seemed ordinary soft pink, embroidered with stars. But then he noticed a faint chemical scent clinging to the fabric. Sedative residue, he muttered. Strong dose. Another officer emptied the pocket stitched inside the suitcase lining. A small plastic bag slid out containing a folded document, a torn photograph, and something else. A child's bracelet with tiny pastel beads spelling a single word. Mila, Alvarez's stomach dropped. This wasn't random. Someone planned this. Someone knew her name. Drop her before security. No witnesses. No hesitation. Jenna entered the room just as the officers exchanged horrified looks. Tell me you found something. Alvarez handed her the bracelet. He didn't abandon her by accident. He planned every second. Jenna's grip tightened around the tiny beads. And he's still inside this airport, Alvarez added, before Jenna could respond. Rex, still in the medical bay, suddenly barked. Sharp and furious. He had picked up a scent. The scent of the man who put Mila in the suitcase. Rex's sudden bark echoed down the hallway, sharp enough to jolt everyone into motion. Jenna sprinted back into the medical bay, and there he stood, body stiff, nose pointed toward the corridor, hackles raised. Mila clung to the blanket, eyes widening in fear. He's here, she whispered. The bad man. He's here. Jenna's breath caught. Mila, are you sure? The little girl nodded weakly. Rex, he smells him. I know he does. Before Jenna could ask anything else, Captain Morales appeared in the doorway, face tense. "We found a match." The man in the surveillance footage, his name is Ethan Cole. Suspicion of child trafficking, multiple interstate warrants. He disappeared last year. Jenna's blood ran cold. "He kidnapped her?" Morales nodded grimly. Mila's mother reported her missing 48 hours ago. Cole isn't related to the family. He took Mila from a playground, sedated her, and intended to smuggle her through the airport undetected. Jenna felt her stomach twist. "In a suitcase." Morales lowered his voice. He planned to fly out under a false identity. The flight leaves in less than 15 minutes. He's desperate now, dangerous. Rex barked again, stepping toward the hallway, nose locked on a trail only he could detect. Mila reached out, grabbing Jenna's sleeve. "Don't let him find me," she begged in a trembling whisper. "Please, don't let him take me again." Jenna gently squeezed her hand. "He won't. Rex won't let him." Rex growled, pulling tension into the room like static before a storm. Morales lifted his radio. "All unit suspects still inside the airport. Armed and unpredictable. K9 unit has active scent. Prepare for lockdown." Jenna clipped Rex's leash, heart pounding. "All right, boy," she whispered. "Show us where he is." Rex lunged forward. The hunt had begun. Rex shot out of the medical bay like a bullet, nose locked on the scent trail that zigzagged through the halls of the airport. Jenna sprinted behind him, weaving through crowds while shouting, "Police, move aside!" Passengers scattered, startled by the sudden urgency. Officers joined the chase, boots hammering against polished floors as alarms began to blare overhead. Rex sniffed the air, turned sharply left, and bolted toward the escalators. Morales barked orders through his radio, coordinating units across all terminals. Suspect headed toward Gate B. Cut off all exits. At the bottom of the escalators, Rex snarled and launched himself forward, nearly pulling the leash from Jenna's grip. Ahead, a man in a dark hoodie glanced back, eyes wide, face pale. Ethan Cole. Their eyes met for a split second. He ran. "Stop!" "Police!" Jenna shouted, but Ethan shoved past travelers, knocking over suitcases and nearly toppling an elderly woman. Rex barked furiously, lunging harder. Ethan sprinted toward a boarding tunnel, waving his forged pass wildly. A gate agent panicked and backed away as he pushed past the counter. "He's trying to board!" Morales yelled. Rex veered right, bypassing the chaos, nose pressed to the carpet as he followed the scent into a narrow service hallway. Jenna trusted him without hesitation and followed. Heart-pounding. Ethan burst through a door at the other end straight into a restricted luggage zone. Conveyor belts roared. Forklifts beeped. Workers froze at the sight of a frantic man climbing over crates. "Cole! Freeze!" Jenna shouted. He didn't stop. Rex did. He crouched low, eyes locked, muscles tight. Then he launched. Rex leaped through the air, slamming into Ethan with full force. The man crashed onto the concrete with a scream as Rex pinned his arm. Powerful jaws stopping inches from the man's throat. Jenna closed in. Cuffs ready. The chase was over, but the truth was still unfolding. Ethan Cole writhed beneath Rex's grip, his face twisted in panic. "Get this dog off me!" he screamed, trying to yank his arm free. But Rex didn't budge. His growl vibrated through the entire loading bay, deep, controlled, protective. Jenna rushed in, breath heaving, and placed a hand firmly on Rex's back. "Good boy." "Hold him," she whispered. Ethan tried to twist away again, but Jenna snapped the cuffs onto his wrists with practiced precision. Morales and 2 other officers arrived seconds later, weapons drawn. "Ready for the worst. Suspect secured," Jenna announced, pulling Ethan to his feet. Ethan glared at her, fury burning in his eyes. "You ruined everything," he spat. Jenna's jaw clenched. "You stuffed a child into a suitcase." She wouldn't stop crying, Ethan snapped. I just needed her quiet long enough to get through. Rex lunged, teeth bared, and Morales quickly pulled Ethan back. Get him out of here, he ordered Dot as officers dragged Ethan toward the exit. Rex abruptly stopped growling. His head lifted. His ears perked. He turned facing the hallway leading back to the medical bay. Mila, Jenna breathed. He wants to go back to her. They hurried through the airport corridors, Rex pulling with anxious urgency. Passengers who had witnessed the commotion stepped aside, whispering as the K9 passed, no longer afraid, but in awe. When they entered the medical bay, Mila sat upright on the bed, small hands shaking, tears streaking her cheeks. Where's Rex? Her voice cracked. Rex bounded forward, tail low but wagging, and placed his head gently on her lap. Mila burst into sobs, wrapping her tiny arms around his neck. You came back, she whispered. You always come back. Jenna felt her eyes sting. The danger was over, and the little girl was finally safe in the only place she trusted. The airport felt different now, calmer, softer, as if the building itself was exhaling after holding its breath for hours. Mila sat curled against Rex on the medical bed, tiny fingers tangled in his thick fur. Every time someone approached, Rex lifted his head protectively, making it clear he wouldn't let her out of his sight again. A doctor entered with a warm smile. She's stable now, he said softly to Jenna. The sedatives are wearing off. She just needs rest. And familiarity. His eyes flicked to Rex. And clearly, she's already found that. Jenna let out a shaky breath. Yeah, she sure has. Moments later, Mila's mother burst into the room, eyes swollen with panic and relief. Mila, she cried, rushing forward. Mila reached for her, clinging tightly to her mother's neck as tears spilled from both of them. Rex stayed still watching, guarding. The mother looked at Jenna through tears. How can I ever thank you? You saved my baby. Jenna shook her head. It wasn't me. She knelt beside Rex, running a hand through his fur. He found her. He refused to leave until we did something. Mila's mother crouched down, placing a trembling hand on Rex's head. Thank you, she whispered. You're our miracle. Word spread quickly. Reporters gathered outside. Cameras flashed. Within hours, headlines exploded online. K9 hero saves toddler hidden in airport suitcase. Police dog prevents tragedy and shocking airport rescue. But Rex didn't care about cameras or praise. His world was small and simple. Mila was safe. Later, as Mila prepared to leave for the hospital, she leaned down and kissed Rex on the nose. I love you, doggy, she whispered. You saved me. Again. Rex wagged his tail, gentle, warm, proud. And in that quiet moment, everyone knew. He wasn't just a police dog. He was a guardian angel with 4 paws.